I never thought a casual weekend at Emma's house would end up changing everything. My name is Alex, and I've always been careful about keeping certain parts of myself hidden. Not because I was ashamed, but because some things are meant to stay private. My friends knew me as a laid-back guy who loved gaming, casual sports, and the occasional dare. Emma, my girlfriend of 2 years, knew me well, but even she didn't know about the tiny thrill I sometimes indulged in, experimenting with clothes that weren't exactly mine. It wasn't about anyone else. It was about curiosity, self-expression, and the quiet excitement of exploring a side of myself that rarely saw the light of day. That Saturday morning, I arrived at Emma's apartment with a small bouquet of flowers, expecting nothing more than a lazy brunch and some light conversation. Her sister, Lily, was already there, perched on the edge of the couch, scrolling through her phone. Lily and I had always gotten along, though we had our fair share of teasing battles. She was playful, sharp, and just a little mischievous, qualities that, as I was about to learn, could be dangerously convincing. "Alex," Lily greeted, eyes sparkling with amusement. "You're just in time for a little game." "A game?" I asked, smiling politely. I had no idea what she meant, and honestly, I wasn't expecting much. "Yes," she said, leaning closer conspiratorially.
"A challenge.
"Something fun for you if you think you can handle it." Her grin made me uneasy, though I tried to hide it. Lily had that way of making you feel simultaneously daring and foolish. Emma entered the room, smiling, holding a tray with coffee and pastries. "Don't let her scare you, Alex," she said, teasing. "She's been plotting something all week." I shrugged, feeling a mix of curiosity and mild apprehension. I liked Lily, but her surprises often came with strings attached. Still, I figured it would be harmless, a little laughter, maybe a playful dare, nothing serious. Lily stood, holding something behind her back. "Close your eyes," she commanded playfully. I hesitated for a split second, then complied. The thrill of anticipation coursed through me. When I opened my eyes again, I blinked. There, sitting neatly on the coffee table, was a pair of sleek, black heels, tall, elegant, and absolutely not something I had expected to touch, let alone wear. "You're kidding," I said, laughing nervously. "These are not for me." Lily shook her head, her grin widening. "Oh, they're for you. You're going to wear them. And not just for a few seconds, you'll walk in them, pose, maybe even strut a little." Emma nearly choked on her coffee, suppressing laughter. "She's serious, Alex," she said, eyes twinkling. "It's just a little fun. Don't overthink it." Fun. That word echoed mockingly in my head. Something about Lily's tone made it clear this wasn't going to be just a little fun. She had that mischievous spark, the kind that always left me on edge, teetering between intrigue and embarrassment. And now these heels. I tried to protest, but Lily was relentless. "Come on, don't be a chicken. You said you weren't afraid of challenges, right?" I swallowed, feeling my pulse quicken. A tiny voice in my head whispered, maybe just a little. No harm in trying.
The first step was terrifying.
I slipped my feet into the shoes, feeling the unfamiliar arch stretch and shift beneath me. My balance wavered immediately, legs stiffening as if they weren't quite mine anymore. The heels felt like extensions of someone else's body, graceful, foreign, demanding poise I hadn't mastered. Lily clapped her hands lightly.
"See?
Not so bad." I forced a laugh, wobbling slightly. My reflection in the mirror across the room caught my eye. I barely recognized myself. Slightly taller, hips subtly shifting, legs stretched in a way that felt both odd and exhilarating. There was an unmistakable thrill in the vulnerability, in exposing myself to this playful challenge. Emma leaned against the doorway, smiling softly. "You look different. In a good way."
Different.
That word stuck with me. My mind raced, thoughts colliding. Embarrassment, excitement, curiosity, and a sudden, sharp fear of being judged. But then Lily nudged me gently, playful yet commanding. "Now walk. Around the room. Confidently. Pretend you own the world." I took a tentative step, wobbling slightly, feeling the strange rhythm of the heels beneath me. Each movement sent shivers through my body, part fear, part excitement. Every inch of the floor became a stage, every glance from Lily and Emma a test of courage. By the time I managed a full circle around the room, I was both elated and mortified. My balance had improved slightly, my confidence had surged, but the reality remained. I was in heels, performing under the gaze of two people who clearly found my discomfort entertaining. "You're a natural," Lily teased, eyes sparkling. "Maybe we should make this a regular thing." I froze, a mixture of panic and thrill surging through me. Regular? This wasn't supposed to be regular. It was supposed to be a playful dare. But as I looked at my reflection in the mirror, the transformation, the posture, the legs, the strange power in my steps, made me realize something. This challenge was unlocking a side of me I had never fully acknowledged. Emma smiled, reaching out to squeeze my shoulder.
Don't worry, Alex.
"You're doing great. Just have fun with it." Fun. I tried to focus on that word, letting it ground me. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. Lily had plans mischievous, teasing, and undeniably thrilling. And somehow, I had a feeling that these heels were just the first step in a challenge that would push me far beyond comfort, exposing vulnerabilities I wasn't quite ready to face. I took another careful step, feeling the heels embrace me, feeling the strange power of being slightly taller, slightly more visible, slightly more someone else. A nervous laugh escaped me. Lily grinned. Emma nodded approvingly. And in that moment, I realized that whatever came next, there was no turning back. The weekend had started as ordinary. By the time I stepped fully into the heels, it had already become unforgettable. The first few hours were a blur of tentative steps, nervous laughter, and Lily's relentless teasing. Every time I glanced at the mirror, I was confronted with a reflection that seemed both mine and not mine. Taller, poised, legs accentuated by the heels, a subtle sway in my posture that made me feel both exposed and powerful. Lily, clearly enjoying every second, encouraged me to explore further. "Walk to the kitchen, pour yourself some water, and don't stumble," she said, grinning mischievously. I took a deep breath, feeling the unfamiliar weight of the heels beneath me. The first step toward the kitchen was shaky. I almost tipped forward. My hands instinctively reached for support, but Lily laughed softly. "No leaning, Alex. Balance. Confidence." Emma watched quietly, sipping her coffee, her expression amused but encouraging. "You're doing better than I expected," she said. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, though I couldn't tell if she was teasing me or genuinely impressed. Every movement became a lesson. I learned to shift my weight subtly, adjust my posture, and embrace the sway of the heels rather than fight it. My body was changing, every muscle alert, every step deliberate. I could feel my confidence growing, though it was laced with vulnerability. Then came the emotional challenge. Lily pulled out a small stack of dresses from her closet, each more elaborate than the last. "Pick one," she said, eyes gleaming. "You're going to wear it, and I want you to own it." I froze. The skirts, silky and flowing, were foreign to me in a way the heels weren't. Yet something in Lily's gaze, a mix of mischief and expectation, pushed me forward. I chose a soft pastel dress, hesitating as I slipped it over my shoulders. The fabric clung in all the right places, flowing gracefully around my legs. Standing in front of the mirror, I barely recognized myself. The heels had transformed my posture. The dress emphasized curves I had noticed. I felt exposed, undeniably different, yet the thrill was undeniable. I laughed nervously, a sound that seemed foreign in my own ears. "Perfect," Lily said, clapping.
Now walk.
Around the room. "Show us you can handle this." Each step was a battle against my nerves. The combination of heels and dress made every movement precarious. I stumbled slightly, my heart racing, but Emma's encouraging smile and Lily's playful cheers pushed me forward. With every lap, I felt a strange mixture of shame and exhilaration, my mind racing with conflicting emotions. The suspense was constant. I knew I wasn't alone. I was performing, in a sense, for Emma and Lily. But what if someone else saw me? What if Emma's friend stopped by unexpectedly? Every sound, every movement in the apartment heightened my awareness, amplifying the thrill and the fear simultaneously. By mid-afternoon, the challenge escalated. Lily suggested small tasks, reaching for objects on high shelves, balancing on one foot to grab a snack, even trying to mimic a runway walk. Each task exposed my vulnerability, tested my balance, and pushed me further into this new persona. The emotional stakes rose with each challenge. I felt a mix of embarrassment and pride. Embarrassment at being so exposed, pride at mastering movements I hadn't thought possible. The internal conflict was intense. Part of me wanted to retreat, hide from the heels and the dress, while another part craved the thrill, the attention, the transformation. A key moment came when Lily suggested a mini photo shoot. "I want you to pose," she said, handing me her phone. "Smile, move naturally, and show confidence." My hands shook slightly as I adjusted the dress and balanced in the heels. Each click of the camera amplified my awareness of my body, my posture, my vulnerability. But as I posed, something shifted. I began to embrace the persona, moving fluidly, letting the heels guide me, letting the dress sway naturally. The thrill of transformation mingled with fear, creating a powerful rush of emotion. Emma watched silently, her expression unreadable but intrigued. I could sense her curiosity, her admiration, and a hint of playfulness in her gaze. I realized then that the challenge wasn't just about the heels or the dress. It was about revealing a side of myself I had never fully explored. The suspense heightened further when Lily suggested I try a new style of heels, higher, more intricate, demanding greater balance. My heart raced. I knew the risk of stumbling was higher, the exposure greater. But the thrill, combined with the emotional intensity of performing for Emma and Lily, was irresistible. As I stepped into the new heels, my legs trembled slightly. Every step was deliberate, every movement conscious. Lily cheered softly, Emma watched intently, and I felt a strange mixture of pride, fear, and exhilaration. The transformation was no longer superficial. It had seeped into my posture, my movements, my very presence. By late afternoon, exhaustion set in, but the emotional tension remained. My body ached from the heels, my mind raced with anticipation and anxiety, and yet the thrill of discovery kept me moving forward. Lily teased, Emma encouraged, and I realized that this experience was teaching me more about myself than I had expected. The suspense reached a peak when Lily hinted at a final challenge for the day, a test of balance, poise, and confidence in the heels and dress. "One more step," she said, eyes sparkling. "Can you handle it?" I hesitated, feeling the weight of the day's transformation pressing on me. My body was tired, my emotions raw, and yet a part of me was eager to continue, eager to embrace the thrill, the vulnerability, the exposure. The build-up ends here, positioning Alex for the climax, where stakes will escalate further, introducing unexpected obstacles, close calls, and intense emotional tension. By late afternoon, the apartment had transformed into a stage. The heels clicked against the hardwood floors, each step amplified by the growing intensity of the challenge. My balance was tested constantly, my legs ached from the relentless, unfamiliar posture, and my mind was a whirlwind of embarrassment, thrill, and fear. Every movement felt magnified, every glance from Lily or Emma a subtle test of my composure. Lily, ever the mischievous instigator, had upped the ante. "Okay, Alex," she said, holding up a taller, more intricate pair of heels. "These are your final challenge for the day. You can't hesitate. You have to walk, pose, and maintain perfect balance." My heart raced. These heels were not forgiving. The arches were steep, the straps tight, and my legs protested immediately as I slipped my feet in. Each step became a careful negotiation, a battle of focus and poise. Emma watched quietly from the sofa, her eyes unreadable. I couldn't tell if she was amused, impressed, or quietly evaluating me. The uncertainty heightened the tension. I had learned to navigate the heels, yes, but now, under her gaze, every wobble felt magnified, every misstep potentially catastrophic. Start at the hallway and walk to the living room, Lily instructed. Then turn and come back without touching anything. I swallowed hard. Every nerve in my body was alert. My first step was shaky, almost tipping forward. I corrected, breath quickening, legs trembling slightly. Lily's voice rang with encouragement, teasing, and challenge all at once. Good, good.
Keep going.
Confidence, Alex. Confidence. Halfway across the room, my heel caught on the rug. Panic surged as I stumbled, a near fall that made my pulse spike. Emma's gasp reached my ears. I steadied myself, heart pounding, sweat beading on my forehead. Lily clapped slowly, mock dramatic. Dramatic, but not defeated. I like it. I laughed nervously, my vulnerability exposed but tinged with exhilaration. Each movement tested not only my physical balance but my emotional composure. I realized then that this was more than a playful challenge. It was a confrontation with my own fears, a push into a world where judgment, embarrassment, and self-expression collided. Lily then introduced another twist. She placed a small chair in the middle of the living room.
Sit. Pose.
Smile. Hold it for the count of 10. Don't wobble. I stepped carefully, adjusting my posture, feeling the weight of the heels and the sway of the dress. Every muscle was tense, every step deliberate. Sitting felt awkward at first, but I managed to settle into a pose, maintaining balance. The camera in Lily's hand clicked rapidly, capturing each second. Emma leaned forward, curiosity glimmering. "You're really handling this well," she said softly. Her voice carried a mix of admiration and playful challenge.
My pulse surged again.
Admiration or judgment? Approval or teasing? The ambiguity kept my mind in overdrive, amplifying the emotional tension. Then came the next obstacle, a knock at the door. My body froze. My heart raced. Could it be Emma's friends? My own friends? A neighbor? The suspense made the room feel smaller, my vulnerability magnified. Lily's eyes sparkled with mischief. "This is it," she whispered. "Your real test. Can you keep your composure?" Emma's gaze shifted between me and the door, curiosity and amusement dancing in her eyes. I took a shaky breath and walked to the door, each step measured, every sway of the heels a calculated risk. My hands trembled slightly as I reached for the handle. It was just a delivery. Relief washed over me, but the tension didn't ease. The near exposure, the constant awareness of being watched, the physical strain, it all blended into a heightened emotional state that left me trembling inside and out. As I returned, Lily proposed the final test, a runway walk. She cleared a path through the living room, lined with cushions and small obstacles. "Walk like you own it," she said, voice teasing but commanding. No hesitation. Eyes forward. Confidence. I stepped onto the makeshift runway. Every click of the heels felt amplified, every sway of the dress noticed. I focused on each step, each posture shift, embracing the vulnerability while channeling confidence. Emma's eyes followed me, unreadable yet compelling. Lily's grin widened with each stride I took. Halfway through, I stumbled slightly over a cushion. My chest tightened, adrenaline spiking. Emma gasped softly. Lily clapped dramatically. "You're doing wonderfully, Alex. Own it." I laughed nervously, regaining balance. The physical strain mixed with emotional tension, creating a cocktail of exhilaration and fear. I realized then that I was not just performing for them. I was confronting a side of myself I had long ignored, exposed yet empowered, vulnerable yet daring. The final symbolic moment arrived when I reached the mirror at the end of the runway. My reflection stared back, Alex in heels and a dress, tense yet confident, exposed yet radiant. The mirror captured the duality of my identity, the transformation both physical and emotional. The heels, the sway, the posture, they were not just accessories. They were symbols of courage, vulnerability, and self-discovery. But just as I began to revel in the triumph, another knock sounded at the door. My heart stopped. The suspense intensified. Lily's eyes sparkled mischievously. Emma's expression shifted, curiosity and amusement mingling with a subtle question. Who was at the door, and would my secret be exposed? I froze, balancing in the heels, dress swaying, reflection staring back at me. The room held its breath with me. Every instinct screamed to retreat, hide, or face it fully. The stakes were higher than ever. My identity, my vulnerability, my performance, all on the line. And in that moment, I realized the climax wasn't just about the heels or the dress. It was about confronting fear, embracing self-expression, and navigating the precarious line between exposure and acceptance. The knock at the door reverberated through the apartment like a drumbeat in my chest. My heart slammed against my ribs as I froze mid-step, balancing precariously in the heels. The room seemed impossibly small, the walls closing in, each sound amplified, the faint hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the clock, the click of my heels against the hardwood. Lily leaned casually against the doorway, eyes glittering with mischief. Well, looks like your final test just got an unexpected twist, she teased, voice dripping with playful suspense. Emma's gaze followed mine, wide and unreadable, a mix of curiosity and something deeper. I could feel her silently weighing the scene before her. Me in heels and a flowing dress, trying not to wobble, and Lily standing smugly with her signature mischievous grin. The doorknob rattled again. My mind raced. Who could it be? A delivery? A neighbor? Someone about to witness my secret life in full display? Alex, Emma whispered softly, a faint smirk tugging at her lips. You've handled this remarkably well so far. Remarkably well? My knees trembled, and I instinctively pressed my hands to my thighs, trying to steady myself. Each syllable of praise from Emma made my vulnerability more intense, my awareness of being exposed sharper. Lily, sensing my hesitation, stepped closer. Go on, she urged. Answer it. Face it head on. You can do this. I took a shaky breath, forcing my hand toward the doorknob. Each movement felt monumental. The heels shifted beneath me, my balance teetering on the edge. My reflection in the mirror caught my eye. Alex, transformed yet raw, poised yet trembling, a perfect reflection of vulnerability and exhilaration. As I swung the door open, my stomach dropped. It wasn't who I expected. The delivery guy held a package, looking confused but polite. Relief surged, brief and fleeting. But behind him, a shadow moved. Emma's sister, Lily, had one last surprise. From behind the delivery, she stepped forward, holding a camera, ready to capture every second of my reaction. Smile, Alex, she whispered, her grin impossibly wide. This is the perfect shot. Panic and exhilaration collided. I froze, every nerve alert. My mind screamed to retreat, to hide, to revert to my familiar self. But the thrill, the vulnerability, the exposure, the electric mix of embarrassment and excitement kept me rooted to the spot. Emma's eyes softened, and she reached out, brushing a hand against mine. You're incredible, she said. Just keep going. I blinked, my pulse hammering. The mirror behind me reflected the tableau, me in heels and dress, balancing on a knife edge of confidence and fear, Lily poised with her camera, Emma observing with curiosity and subtle admiration. Every element amplified the suspense. And then, the doorbell rang again. Not a delivery, not a visitor. Something or someone unexpected. My mind raced. Would my secret be discovered? Would Emma's perception of me change? Would Lily push the boundaries even further? I swallowed hard, legs trembling, heels wobbling slightly. Every second stretched. The room felt alive, charged with tension, every glance and every shadow a potential threat. Emma squeezed my hand gently, her eyes locking with mine. Whatever happens next, she said softly, just be yourself. My stomach twisted. Be myself? In this moment, with heels, a dress, and the suspense of discovery all converging, my identity felt stretched across multiple realities. My normal self, the transformed persona, the person performing under observation. The camera clicked softly from behind Lily. The mirror caught every movement, and the second doorbell chime echoed through the apartment. I took another hesitant step forward, my heels shifting beneath me, each sway magnified. My heart pounded like a drum, threatening to burst from my chest. The thrill, the fear, the embarrassment, it all collided into a single moment of heightened suspense. And then silence. The room held its breath. Every eye was on me, every muscle tensed. The future uncertain. The secret precariously balanced on the edge of exposure. I realized one thing with startling clarity: nothing would ever be the same again. My vulnerability had been revealed, my hidden side exposed, and yet a part of me felt undeniably alive, electrified by the thrill of transformation. The camera clicked again, capturing the perfect shot, the frozen moment where fear, exhilaration, and identity collided. And just like that, the story paused. Would I recover gracefully? Would someone see more than they should? Could I navigate the challenge without shattering the fragile balance I had achieved? The audience was left with a question impossible to ignore. What happens next?